Every day will feel like a trial run until the boulder finally catches up, so I will loudly repeat that Leviticus is the sexiest book in the Bible until the ground is whipped from beneath my feet like I am a laid table finished with but fun. It is a shame that the party is cancelled because roommates, when Death got all dressed up for the occasion, brought their macro lens and was going to get all up in there. Cells, you know? Instead, I'm on the station platform like I always am in poetry, and your donations could help people like Angela. So, flash of, one day I am going to live in a nice flat with hardwood floors and a dog, and you will still be dead. But I'm happy for Angela, I think, and people like her. On World Leaf Day, we all thought about leaves. Stalks leaning towards the state, so very haphazard looking. We tried to turn them towards the sun, but they winced, crying out for another chance to decide something. Some of their stems touched, and who am I to bend their arc or look out the window? All commas are fetal now, and every time you delete one, I see it in track changes and whisper, murderer. It is much easier this way. Like a geyser of inconsistent temperature, an occasional card with yay printed across the front, accidentally stumbling across the blog of a friend, of a dead, not friend, but distant comrade, and the tendrils of connection stiffen and crack like old foam. I fuck up into the atmosphere, hopeful, cat on the balcony, crooning. No, I will not buy your cassette tape on the merch desk, but I will wind it for you with a ballpoint pen because I like that sound. Hello, world. Without wishing to narrate or react, there is only avoidance, and that is a gauche centerpiece for acoustic tables. But so is this. Crinoline sour clasp of hand to mouth, fingers to tongue, and pull. That's good. Just one more time for me before we collect up all this obviousness from the trod ground, like complete twats, and trade it back at the bar for petty cash to do our bit and look bad doing it. But imagine, Sharpie whiskers, bodily violation, a whole train carriage, a whole tub of marshmallows in the bath and bloating, a whole stomach emptied into a Wendy house. A whole life of through a scanner darkly, redly. If there is only avoidance, then it all becomes very sign my yearbook, tell me everything we never said and won't on a coming back to town someday because we are of course the sort of people who move away. Or that might be better still than this, to display it on a page. This is happening and I don't want to talk about it. But I am. Well, that's just embarrassing. And it could be any number of things. That's the trick. Confession let out of its box. Ball, undercup, undercup, undercup. No admiration for the one who saw it move because they had nothing better to do. Well, neither do I, but I pretend to look away. It's only polite. Okay, this is a longer one. Please Press, which is the title of this collection, which is also on the table. It came out this year. I wander into the top floor of the government agency to which I should not be able to gain access, but it is a cupboard and nobody cares. Anyway, everyone is working from home today, so I sit on the floor of the cupboard and scream, "He is dead! Stop telling him he has to file his tax returns!" And the sky opens up and the clouds tell me to please press 1. Please press 1. Please press, please, harder until it splinters like a fake phone or carapace into something like forgiveness or a letter opener spikier than the last. I tell the puppy he is very special. Then I feel real guilt for not having told my cuddly toys the same when I did once and cried when they were taken away because I had asthma and their stuffing rubbed me the wrong way. When the government agency was new, I took great pride in knowing that it was in fact a private enterprise in France and will point to the signage and coo, disappointed, like, there it is, and isn't it awful? And aren't you glad I told you? Taking screenshots of the makeup of each department like a cruel anatomist. These buildings, they are still alive, only divvied up like pig parts and then again by me in my interminable analysis. Going nowhere but the hospital, once again, and pointing at the signs. Run in partnership with all of us, everywhere, with mirror image batons and pepper spray, which was once small print, now never even there. Was it written in ink? Did we even check? Help me navigate. That's enough now. Dropping the pen down the front of my dress and it never reappears, I flip my skirt up in the middle of the photocopy room while everyone hoots and hollers and I scream, "Where is my pen?" Someone silently hands me another, but it's not the same. It never is. I think I'm at my wit's end, which is a great relief. On the roller coaster, made entirely of wood, hissing, "What were they thinking?" But you just ignore me to focus on the feeling, whereas I didn't even feel my stomach drop. I am always doing that. Nostalgia for a pedantry I didn't possess, because that would be ridiculous and also cruel. But in the gaps, I cover my mouth, pretend to cough and whisper, "Would have, not would of," because you would have. You would have. When they issue a new ID card proving that I do like ice cream, nobody will ever be able to challenge me again at the party, saying, I've never seen you eat it, or you're lactose intolerant, or you only like vanilla, that doesn't count, because I will instantly end the conversation like a struck face. So there, which is all anyone wants. The proper paper cuts obtained from the proper places. Now give me a bowl of the good stuff. What tires us most is the delivery of it, the tone when she says, it's not what you said, it's the way you said it, in such a way as to imply, well, mustn't complain. That would be, mostly it would be exhausting for us and not worth it and take up too much time and not enough hours in the day and need some time to myself, and by 5 o'clock we're all ready, and besides, she's probably having a rough time of it too, and we don't know her story, and what's the point, and I'm going to bed for real this time. I won't be coming back with family at Christmas arms saying, no, I didn't mean it, now you must forgive me, because I made you sad, and that hurts. We'll call them again tomorrow, with the reference number ready for once. I can't remember if we're supposed to be having emotions outrageously or only talking through the present state of things in ways which abolish less messily, less awfully, less girlishly. Are we done with that yet? Can we talk over each other again? Is a poem like, can't hear you in the club, yelling through the bathroom door while you brush your teeth on the toilet, call your name on the next carriage over yet? There is something in vogue. And nobody is tripping over themselves to tell each other what. So he turned up late to the poetry reading, not physically, but creatively. Everybody laughed. I did too, but I didn't know why. I think he was just counter-revolutionary or cringy or a cunt. Ventriloquize an inanimate object for the sake of the spectre and the approval of monstrous women who are good and monstrous men who are bad. It is very simple. Every other word is only understood by 5 other people in the room, which is more than can be said for other universal experiences like sex or cooking, so it's still a relief, and I clap and wave like a seal with more performative ears, like a sea lion. On the sign was written AGICAB, but nobody took pictures for the gallery of signs. It was a private joke for public purpose where the models don't fit this rhythm or structural inequity, like she resisted, we persisted, she believed, he lied. She would rather be a rebel than a slave. I think I'll leave it there, though, before they ask me anything else about the sign and the picture I took of it. It is embarrassing to write a poem from the perspective of a brick, and we should never pretend otherwise. Not only have I never thrown one, I have never been one, so where am I going with this exactly? Except please don't fine me £100. It would be easy to combine forms poetic and governmental, which is what I am doing because it is easy to sign here and never know for sure, carapace healing, when I will crack again on the standard issue carpet or the same place every month with the same people who I love, who don't care about my tax returns. I don't know what's worse. Cool. Okay, I'm going to read a new one that doesn't have a title that I wrote on the train a couple of weeks ago and have not looked at since. Inspired by a conversation I saw people having based on a tweet. What would be your job on the centrist commune? I am supposedly doing some imaginative work requiring a certain amount of focus, like, what would be your job on the centrist commune? A person deserving of a roster would stick to the concept and step to profit. It's like a dating app, but you're pictured with your arms around your best critical lenses. But I am slippery all over the places, writing on a triangulation from I have exes in all 3 of these cities, and you could localize me right here on that suburban lawn, wearing nothing but an undone thing pushed to the side so you can see I have nothing to hide. Not now, it's gone away. The guy vested with the power to fund taps the sign. It says, stick to the point or circle it like a ravenous stuck hyena. But instead, I sick up something like, there are 2 things certain in this life, death and praxis, death and faxis, death and anaphylaxis. I am ejected from the premises but told to come back when I get a better handle on form so that I might upset it more intentionally. It was a beautiful day in the close to the boundary line blue heartland pumping in a sea of red when we were the children, and I split the traffic in the road and sat so they might learn the difference between good disruptions and bad ones, and I reached out and pulled up a weed growing through the cracks because I have an undiagnosed disorder of great limbed structure, and the weed caught the eye of a child and screamed. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I have failed to build a profitable business after raising a substantial amount of funds under the claim of innovation and disruption. I have a $699 juicer, and I have been beaten to a pulp by the market at last. This is a way of connecting what must be connected via what already is. Pulling the lever to switch the tracks like weaving or gerrymandering, the natural world in total opposition to my breakfast bowl of chrome and glass, as if there were never any sand. When I texted him last night, I am sick, but don't worry, this isn't it. He thought I meant it like it, when I just mean it like it. But this has been a couple of years of conflations at a stark rate of increase, so I can be forgiven even if it can't, or the other one. I suppose my role on the centrist commune would be just that. The indecipherability of this one and that one, adding a drop more mud to the water and giving it a delicate, unpartisan stir, only a certain amount of in-betweenness concentrated in the gin fusion, but just enough to give you a funny little feeling in your mouth. Ooh. I would suck them, not crunch them. Then one of the Commune Party leaders takes another yellow look at me and I hear the projected result. Going out dressed like that? On a Jubilee year? This is all the imaginative work I am capable of between de petite collapse, like death, but you have to get up again, go to work, put the pen down. Somebody made the joke about the insect thing, but the absurd has fallen straight through the trap of its own arsehole, so that it's stranger now to wake up human and answer questions. One more. Say that as if I've decided which one it is. Okay. Religious education. I remember everything, like banana as proof of God. Yes, I do. And I'll pull it all out like a tapeworm nightmare or menstrual needlework project or my literal guts if I can put the rest back in, like what use is all this knowledge 3 times repeated and stored forever when I don't know what I don't know anymore, and worse, I never will. It all comes out wrong, but it doesn't matter when they do it, or is that projection too? When I was 19 and learning that men write the kind of poetry that requires a lot of research, we moved the carriage clock, but not the hands. I put his things in boxes on the front porch like free books and wanted to tear the child's hands off when she came, not for taking what was everybody's, but for having her dad still. One day she won't, and that's not good either. Please put on some music he hated. I would rather make him mad than proud right now. Imagine if I could even attempt an eco-poetics. No use in that, the imagining, I mean, when I can barely witness a man over 64 without wanting to issue a ban on men over 64. It is possible I will always feel this way, or that I will feel this way for the next 37 years, which isn't very Kindfest 2020 of me, but I can see myself now. Ban old men! But nobody thinks to ask me why, so assumptions are made, and that is bad journalism. You should have asked me, so ask me, please. I can explain. The serrated edge of your own inadequacy, oh, can't even cut, can only spread. Speeding past Gnome World in excellent tears, thinking nobody has felt this much. But more so me, I have never felt this much. Or maybe it's nothing, sorry. You can't look at death, I thought. Then shook my head and vomited soundly out the window, as if I could make myself a car-sick child again, to avoid the inevitable abstraction. His hands were very cold, and I kissed them. Thank you.